and 106.1 KZCC, Conroe, Texas, or online, irlonestar.com.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining the Cindy Cochran Show. Boy, have we got an exciting show today. And we want to thank the Wootton Financial Group for their sponsorship. Hello, mouth work. And it's exciting because he sponsored us over at the old studio when we were on, and then he re-upped again when we got over here, and he is come back. So, you know, if you happen to want to sponsor the show, we have plenty of room for you. Or if you want to donate to the show, you can do that as well. But and today you just want to make sure that you listen to this show or watch the show, because we have Don Wilson. He is my Elvis Presley connection that we're getting ready to call and talk to. And he was going to be standing by at any moment. We're going to call him live on the show, and hopefully he's not talking to one of all his celebrity friends. No. You know, you never know. One ringy ding. Is this Don Wilson? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, this is Cindy Cochran. Hi, Don. How are you doing? Going like, Cindy, what are you doing?
You're so silly.
I'm so silly. I'm sorry. But I haven't talked to you in so long. It's been minutes. But no, I called you up, and you weren't feeling well. You were kind of under the weather. And so I said, okay, call me back whenever you feel better. And you did. I was so happy because I thought, oh, I'm getting ready to ask him, can you be on the show tomorrow? And you got well. You did all the medicine, all the stuff.
I got better anyway, yeah.
No, I'm sorry you've been suffering, but this is a good distraction, right?
That's true. Of course, you're always a good distraction, Cindy.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you to say that. I appreciate that. Well, you know, Don, you've been on and you have told some of the craziest stories, and I know they're all true, about you and Elvis and his group and the mafia, Memphis Mafia, and all those people. And we've talked about him, you know, like ad nauseum during the movie that just came out and all that. So we talked to as many people as we could that were associated in some way with him, like from Tish, his nurse, and all the way to Bill Morris, who was a good friend of his, and he was the mayor of Memphis and all. So we went through all that, but you know who we never did talk about? Lisa Marie, his daughter. We never had a conversation about her. And then all of a sudden, shockingly, she passes away from a massive heart attack. And we know that there was heart disease in her family. But I bet, you know, it seems like, did she know, or did anyone talk about that, or was that discussed, that she had to take care of herself and she had to do this or not do that?
Well, there's a book by a friend of mine named Sally A. Hodel, and it's called Destined to Die Young. It traces Elvis's family, and it shows how a certain side of the family, you know, has got a lot of issues, you know, and it seems like she had the same issues as her father and this and that. So Sally does a really good job explaining that, because evidently it's in the family. But I'm still stunned that she passed away
So
pretty
young.
much like her father did.
Well, it was just 2 days after the red carpet on the Golden Globes that she was attending, and Billy Bush interviewed her, and he said after his interview that she didn't seem right. She said she seemed kind of shaky and all, and so I just wonder if that was like an early indication. 2 days later, she's gone.
Well, she had lost quite a bit of weight.
Yes.
And she on Elvis's birthday on the 8th, she attended the festivities, and she walked around and met every fan just about, and shook hands, signed autographs, took photos with the fans, and I'd never seen her do that.
Interesting.
Like with just nearly everybody. And she did. She was told by one person who said, "You just look lovely," and she says, "Well, thank you, but I don't really feel too well today." And but she looked better on Sunday than she did at the awards.
Did you happen to see that interview? That
what interview?
The interview that she did on the red carpet with Billy Bush.
Yes, I did.
And he was right. She did seem like very weak. She was really weak. But what like Tish, Elvis's nurse, was talking about how when he wanted her to move onto the property there at Graceland, and he thought that would help give Lisa someone to play with her children, and Lisa could play together. And so I remember that so she had really fond memories of Lisa as a child, but you didn't get to know Lisa or really get to know her until she was a little older, or was she really young when you first met her?
She was younger than me. What it is that I was running in different circles, and she was first time that I would say this. Lisa and I, had met several times. We knew each other, but we didn't really know each other that well, But the first time that I saw her, I think it was in April of 1976. And Harold Lloyd was Elvis's first cousin, and not the silent screen star, but
yeah, I was going to say
he was my next door neighbor. But she was on her golf cart. She had a little blue golf cart that Elvis gave her with her name on it, and she was signing autographs for the fans. And Harold said, "Well, that's enough, Lisa. You have to go back." And she said, "I'm Elvis Presley's daughter, and you're fired."
Oh. Well, I mean,
So
I guess
anyway, Elvis came down. You normally didn't see Elvis coming down. He came down and took her back to the house, and that's all I know. But that's something, because if you were Elvis Presley's child, how do you know how you would act? You're the king's child, and so everybody does your bidding, and I guess she's probably had different attitudes through her life, and as she got older, she became very philanthropic and was doing a lot of charitable work, and so I think she finally grew out of it. But her husband's her marriages were like, she was married 3 or 4 times. She was married to Danny Keough, and then she married Michael Jackson, and then she married Nicolas Cage.
Okay, so
and then Michael Lockwood.
Lockwood,
and Yeah, and so I didn't meet Lockwood. I saw him, but I don't know him. I don't know Danny either, but
her first husband, he passed away like not while they were married, right?
Which one are you talking about?
Her first husband, Keo, was this.
No, I don't believe he passed away.
I wonder, because I was reading an article about it, and one of her husbands had passed away. I didn't know which one it was. I knew it wasn't. Well, I know Michael Jackson has, but not, anybody else. I have to go back and reread it. Okay. Anyway, so but I loved the story that you told about when you met Michael Jackson, and that was just amazing. Can you revisit that and tell us what happened?
Okay. And they got married, I think, in '94, and around that time there was a real hip record shop called Planet Music in Memphis, where you could listen to the music before you bought it,
right.
And you had like little listening stations. I mean, that was pretty cool for that time, and it was pretty big. And anyway, make a long story short, because I could could stretch it out, but Lisa liked it, and she wanted to show Michael, and then they came in, and I had a real brief introduction to Michael. He was very nice, polite, and then they went their way, and then all of a sudden I remember that Michael had to go to the men's room. Well, I guess it was a big thing for for his security guys, and they went over and they banged on the door, and all these Memphis boys come out, and I was like, well, there's only a couple of them, and I was like, what the hell is going on? But and so anyway, it's like the security for the president. They have to go in there and make sure there's nobody there, and so Michael goes into the bathroom, and then they're standing there, not letting anybody go in. But I guess that's my most memorable. But yeah, my meeting with Michael, took all of 10 seconds or 15 or whatever.
But that's something to remember, though. Yeah, and that she was she surprised when she saw you when she came in?
She seemed not to be. So I mean, who knows?
Well, you had found out. You had found out they were coming, and let the manager know, but he wouldn't believe you that they were going to come into this store.
Right. And then he sent someone down for some film to take pictures. Yeah, that's true. But I think that George Klein had his pulse on everything. So I'm sure it was all George. So GK was kind of like the Dick Clark of Memphis, and he was one of my closest friends, and he was very, very close with Priscilla and Lisa, and he was a good friend of Elvis's. He known ever since 8th grade. So
that's George Klein. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you've got so many pictures. Can people still go to the Hollywood Beat and see a lot of the pictures that you have of you with the celebrities that you've worked with or have known?
Yeah, they seem to. I don't have my website anymore, but I do have the page, on Facebook, and there's a lot of pictures. It's just, it's if I didn't have the pictures, it kind of made. I was, oh yeah, that happened,
Well, what's funny is because you had. Every time I would talk to you and I'd say about some celebrity, all of a sudden there was a picture of you with the celebrity, or the celebrity was, you were interviewing them or working with them, and it was amazing because it was like you knew everybody, and I know partially that was because of Elvis and his gang. They got to know you, and so you became a part of their running around that circle. But how many people that just spanned out to, like people that he had done movies with, and that you had come to know, like you knew everybody, even the guy that was the one that was the director for the movie that did the comeback special. You knew him, and I got to talk to him, but he wasn't going to be able to do anything until in January. So I haven't called them back to nail him down. I guess he thinks, oh, she forgot about it. He don't know me. But I'll call him and make sure we get him back.
Well, it is January, so.
Yeah, I know. It's like, okay. And it wasn't this year, I believe. It was of this year that he said, yeah, in January 23, I think I can make your podcast. Okay, great.
There you go.
So,
well, when I was in Memphis, and I knew, the music stars there, it was just more like Rufus Thomas, Billy Riley, and Jerry Lee. But I didn't really know, besides Elvis, like movie stars. But then when I moved out to Hollywood, that's when, I got with the Motion Picture Council, and my job was to award actors and actresses. And then I also did documentaries. And so I would interview them, I would pick up like I did in the radio, interviewing music stars. But, it wasn't until I went to Hollywood where I got to really, meet the film stars. But
well, getting back to Lisa, because I didn't want to miss the part where you worked on the E! Hollywood story of like how it happened. Is that correct?
Yes, that's true. Well, they called me from E! because they knew that I did the definitive Elvis, and word gets around, and so I said, sure. I contributed photographs and audio and video footage, and I didn't do any of the interviews, but it was. I watched it last night. I haven't seen it in a long time. I did it in 2003, but I'll have to get you a dub of that, so you can, check it out.
Yeah, I was trying to find that, and I thought, I can't find it anywhere. But while you were working on that, what did you find things out about Lisa, or did you discover things that you had known?
Well, yeah. I mean, I found out different things, and some of Lisa's friends from her childhood had been guests on the special, as well as Jerry Schilling and George Klein and different ones that are really close to her.
So that was, of course, way before her passing. When that came out, was she upset? Did she not like it, or she liked it, or she thought it was, like it was fine?
Well, it's kind of tough to know. She was. I'd heard rumors that she was, upset about it, but she never said anything to me about it, or I never got a letter. I never got sued.
There you go. That's the way you want to keep your relationship sue-free. Yes,
Exactly.
And I guess her friends probably weren't her friends anymore. Were they doing, tell-all stuff?
Well, they didn't really say anything in a bad light towards her, so she had some problems, and she probably didn't want everything out. But Jerry Schilling was very close to her. He was her manager. He was one of Elvis's pals, and in fact, her first job was his secretary. Nobody really knew it was Lisa, so he said he wanted to make sure that nobody took advantage of her. And he's the one that got her a record deal, when she started recording for Capitol.
Right. I mean, they
He
really...
was the manager of the Beach Boys and Jerry Lee Lewis, too.
Well, it's, like they were hanging a lot on her, and I think the pressure for her to be like her dad and... had to be tough.
Yeah, she said it really wasn't a burden, but she never seemed to be very, very happy, and I'm sure it's because he passed away when she was very young.
Right.
Now, I remember back when she was a teenager, she was. I hadn't seen her except for times that she'd be at Captain D's on Elvis Presley Boulevard with her friends, and so I said, "Okay, that's Lisa. You just go on. I'm not gonna bug her, and I'm not gonna bring attention. Then there's everybody coming, want her autograph or pictures or stuff. But she, I put it this way: I called Elvis's double first cousin, Patsy Presley. She was my pal back in the day, and so Lisa answered, and I said, "Patsy, no, this is Lisa," like I knew, and and then I said, "Well, hello, Lisa." She says, "Don't tell Mom," but she says, "I'm hiding out at Patsy's,"
Oh.
And so evidently she had been at a little tiff with her mother about some clothes or something. And so that was the first time that she took off and flew to Memphis. And Patsy got on the phone and said the same thing. So I said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to say anything to Priscilla." but anyway, that was an interesting day, and I talked to Priscilla's sister Michelle about it, and that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's it was kind of funny looking back at that time, but
it's
I'm sure Priscilla was beside herself, like, where in the devil is she?
Yeah, and if she had found out that you knew and you didn't tell her, so you wanted to tell Patsy, be sure and don't ever tell her that I knew and I didn't call her because you told me to. Yeah, that would have been, I can't imagine the mom going crazy where the daughter is. But how old was she? She had to be, was she an older teenager?
She was probably about, probably 18. I don't know.
Well,
something like that. It's been so long ago, now. But I never said anything, of course, and of course it's been so long. Now, I mean, it was like 40-something years ago now.
Yeah, but she did go through a lot of she went through the drug phase and the different phases that teenagers do, especially someone with a big celebrity, their dad, and then knowing all what he'd gone through. People think, well, if your dad just died because of all the drugs he was taking and all that, if that's what they thought, then you'd think that would teach them a lesson, but it doesn't. It seems like it just, sometimes they feel like they have to, prove something, or they're just, they don't care. This is what they want to do. Their dad did it and he enjoyed it, he had fun, and I'm going to do it.
Oh yeah. Well, I do have a kind of this kind of a nice little memory for me. About 84, 85, across from Graceland was this car museum's there now, but it was a nightclub restaurant called Stage 45. And I did the lights for the floor show, and it was owned by Dennis Wise, who had a plastic surgery that looked like Elvis. And he was on all the talk shows way back then. He was the first one to do something like that. But Richard Davis was Elvis's valet, and he was my best friend, and he was the manager there. And so you had people like Charlie Hodge, and well, let me put it this way, without going on, nearly everybody that knew Elvis were started to hang out down there, and it was the place to come. And well, Patsy hung out there, and one night she came to me and said that Lisa came, but she's not going to come in, but she was hungry, so I made her a cheeseburger, fries, and a Coke. And
you made it?
Yeah, because that was another thing. I was the cook there for a while too. I'd get there at 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'd leave at 2 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I had one day off, and so I was always there. Richard Davis. Back then, I didn't have a phone. Richard Davis used to call me Columbo because if I got any phone calls, it was in the hall. They had one phone there. All right, Columbo, you got a call. But anyway, that was a nice little memory. But yeah, she didn't want to come in. She would have been swamped.
Oh sure, of course. Well, that's what I was wondering how, as she got older and she went through the recording stage, and what do you think happened? Was it because she had taken the wrong choices, the wrong direction, of why she never took off in the recording?
I think it's because she had some good songs, but she said that the best songs that she wrote was when she was sad. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's probably the issue. Now, she had some cover songs like Dirty Laundry, like
right.
Don Henley song. But I think her career would have taken off more if, she did more covers, did other people's music instead of just hers. But, it's too late now.
Well, it's just so amazing because of all the resources she would have been privy to. You would have thought that she'd had, the best writers, the best, musicians, and all that, and then the publicity of anything that she would do. You'd think that it would have just gone crazy. So I was just wondering, what was it? She wasn't that interested in it, or she lost interest in it?
She wanted to do it as long as she did her own music. That's what was important to her.
Okay, so that makes sense, because she was so typecast anyway, because she had his look. That was the strangest thing when you look at her. She does have his look, but Priscilla is, of course, very dominant in her look as well. So the mix of the two was just, like amazing. And, Hollywood celebrities that get married, they're just gorgeous. A lot of times I've seen where their children did not carry that image along the bloodline, but Lisa sure did. She was beautiful. And but she had that, she did have his look. And I don't know if that was a curse or it was like good for her. It just must have been horrendous to have to feel like you're carrying this, the load of the pressure of this big star on your shoulders.
Well, she did love her father, and in fact, when she was in Memphis on his birthday, the night before, she went out with a grief counselor, a friend, and they were at the gravesite, and he spoke about that. She said, "This is where I'll be one day," but she said, "Not for a long time, because there's so much that I still want to do."
Oh, sad.
And so, and she would go up to her dad's room and his bedroom. I remember she took Nicolas Cage up there, and he's a super Elvis fan.
Yeah.
And Austin Butler, she took him up to Elvis's suite there, his bedroom, and so she loved Butler and his portrayal of her father. She loved the movie,
Right.
and
Well, it was funny that Nicolas Cage, when he did that movie, that he like the Elvis impersonators in Vegas.
Honeymoon in Vegas,
yes. And it was so strange. And then to find out, I don't know if he had been married to Lisa before he did the movie or after, but that was a very short marriage, right?
Well, yeah, he'd already done the movie.
He had already done the movie, okay.
In fact, this friend of mine, Joe Kent, who was also one of the Elvises in the film. And Bruno Mars, of all people, was another little Elvis impersonator.
Was he real young? Was he real young in that?
Yeah, he's a real young. In fact, when I used to do Elvis shows, I'd be in the competition, and there'd be Bruno Mars. That's how we knew him.
That's so weird.
And so, but yeah, everything is just all kind of connected,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, but Nicolas Cage seemed like such an odd. I mean, Michael Jackson was pretty odd choice as well, but Nicolas Cage was an odd choice because I just couldn't see them. I couldn't see them together, but like he just wanted to be as close to Elvis as he possibly could be. So he marries his daughter, is what it seemed like to me.
Well, it started, she wanted to get some feedback from Michael about her starting her own career, and Jerry Schilling got a recording contract for her pretty soon as this was happening. And then she told Jerry, she says, "I'm not going to sign." She said, "What do you mean you're not going to sign? I got your recording contract." She said, "I just can't do it right now." And the next thing you know, she married him. She married Michael.
Oh.
And Priscilla told the story that she was in her kitchen, and there was helicopters all overhead, and she was talking to her mother, and she said, "What is going on?" She says, "There's helicopters all about." She says, "You haven't heard? You haven't heard what?" And so her mother told her, Lisa has married Michael Jackson. And then Priscilla said, "What?"
What a way to find out. Oh, that had to be quite a shock. Did Priscilla ever mention to you how she handled their relationship with Michael Jackson in their family?
No, she never did.
Oh, she didn't. Okay. Because
unfortunately, there would have been an exclusive, but she didn't do that.
Oh, that's right. I'd probably had to pay you thousands of dollars to tell me what she said. But I just wondered her reaction and how she got along, with him. It just boggles my mind. what went on. And it's not like it's, when I say circus, I don't mean it, bad way, but I mean, it just, there were so many different things going on at one time. And when he died, and then, Priscilla had gone into the movie business and didn't, it didn't work out as well, probably as she hoped it would. And then with Lisa and her problems, and it seemed like, and there was a power struggle. There was in his legacy that he had left, and everything. I think she's done amazing that she's made all that pay off with using the house. Now that house is only used for tourists to come through, right? I mean, does anyone live there?
Nobody lives there anymore. I mean, like when Lisa used to come in, she'd have the cooks, come in, and she'd have dinner there, and she'd stay the night, and but who knows? Now it's going to go to her daughter Riley, who's an actress and a model. She's going to be the one that's in charge of everything, because the other girls are minors. So,
and because he left everything to her, to Lisa, right? Wasn't everything? Right. It was all left, the properties, the music, and all that. Like, did he have like the Beatles had a catalog? They had the book. Did he have that? Was that owned by, by the Elvis Presley Foundation? Was it owned by them? All his songs?
Well, what it is that he had publishing companies, and but in 1972, Colonel Parker did not do a good deal. He sold, I think, for $5 million, all the residuals, all the rights to Elvis's music from 1956 to 1972 in order to pay off some debts.
Oh, that's right.
And so a lot of the income that would have been coming in, thanks to Colonel Parker, it didn't.
That is, it was so frustrating when you watch the movie and you go like, how could he let this happen? But in that life and in that world and all that, all the stuff that happened in there, you can't explain it unless I guess you lived it to understand why people did what they did, and that's why that's why I think that for Priscilla to have carried this whole huge, conglomerate of companies and all that, the royalties, and to get all that straightened out, and probably lost a lot, but she's kept it going, and and the fans won't let it go.
Yeah.
They just.
Well, yeah, I mean, Colonel, I like Colonel. I didn't like some of the things that he did. In fact, he liked me, but that's also because he knew that I'd lost my family at a young age, and he had a good heart. But the thing is, it could have been so much better for Elvis than now for his descendants,
Yeah, exactly. So. Well, and I know, he probably thought, like, it seemed like his dad thought that this isn't going to last, so we can't be spending a lot of money. Y'all, this is going to be over with any time now. And that's what a lot of celebrities are very insecure with. And it was, and he just had no idea. Like, when Mindy Miller, one of his last girlfriends, had said how when he was driving up to a concert and all these cars, it was packed, and it was a Coliseum like thing, and he goes, I just can't believe these people still want to come see me. And it was such a surprise to him that he was still popular, and that was back in the 70s. So
Elvis had a nightmare. He said that I dreamt that I woke up, looked in the mirror, and I lost all my hair, and I was driving a truck.
oh
And,
my,
and then so he says, then I really woke up, and I checked the mirror, and thank God, I still got all my hair, man.
that must have been horrible because driving the truck was like where he started out. Like he did that
Right.
as a job, and so it was. I saw there was a picture of when he was at Lubbock, and he was. And Buddy Holly came to hear him, and it showed a picture of Buddy Holly. He was among all the other teenagers that were standing around there, and trying to get to him. And there was a guy that came up that was mad at Elvis because his girlfriend loved Elvis more than he did him, so he was going to fight Elvis. And it just showed a picture of that, and it was so funny. The people that surrounded him. He didn't have all that at that point when he went to Lubbock. And my sister is like the number one fan. When I was growing up, she played, they sang and all that. And I liked his music, but they would start screaming at anything. And I went to see his first movie, Love Me Tender, and I was sitting there and with other friends of mine, and all the girls started screaming. We couldn't hear anything they were saying, and we know what is going on. Why are these people screaming? And it was just like a traumatic thing because you couldn't understand why these people were screaming, and it was it just reminded me. Then I grew up and went to the Beatle concert. The same thing happened. Everybody started screaming, and you couldn't hear them singing. And, I love the Beatles as much as anybody did, but I didn't want to scream and not hear them because we were sitting way up at the Houston Coliseum trying to listen to them. And it was...
I know, I was there too, and it was a short concert. And
yes.
I was a little kid though, but it kind of scared me. So because all the screaming, so I went with my aunt. So my aunt and I went back to like the I guess the wings over there by where the concession stands are. We watched from that area,
right?
Because I was just surrounded by screams. It was just like, oh my God, I was getting a headache,
Well, what was so bad was, I just thought, these girls are so stupid. This is so stupid. Shut up, y'all, shut up. And I turned around to my boyfriend, and he was screaming too. And I went, what? So it was really strange. I'm like, why was a guy screaming? But anyway, it just was, I guess that something happens to these girls, and that's all they can do. They're just so excited about seeing them. But I think I would love to just hear a psychologist, try and break all that down if they can understand why. It happened with Frank Sinatra. It happened, with Elvis. It happened with, so many people all through the entertainment business. And that's how the women would react. They'd faint or they'd start screaming. So strange. But
well, Elvis would come out a couple of times, and he'd say, and he'd do wailing. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, good night. That's because everybody would just scream, And of course, I'm. This is the radio, so I'm going to be really good. So Richard, don't worry.
Okay.
But anyway, there was this girl in the audience, and I have it on tape. She said, "I love you, Elvis." She said, "I love you too, honey." And her boyfriend or her husband was right next to her and said, "I hate you, Elvis." And he said, "Well, blank you, man."
He did. Man.
He would just come out right and say it,
Oh my word! That's what's so funny. I had interviewed Tom Jones, and I asked him, does the yelling and screaming? I mean, how do you want to keep singing if can you hear yourself? It's so loud in there. And he said, well, if they quit screaming, I don't have a job. That's what you want them to do.
Right.
And that way, make any mistakes, it doesn't sound as bad. But I thought that was really strange. It's like, well, that's got to be, like you've done all this, you've worked so hard to have all the fame that you could possibly have, and you go out there and no one can hear you. So all of the training and all of that, you could be singing anything. Mary Had a Little Lamb, they don't care. They just, you're there. They're breathing the same air in this Coliseum as you're breathing. This is so exciting. It's so dramatic. But I think it's been, what a life you have led, Don, and all the memories that you have. So, and when is your book coming out?
I don't know. I have written one, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to let it go. There's a couple of guys that want to do a documentary about me. I might do the documentary more than I will the book, But
yes. Because
I want to tell you this. This is very quick though. In the late '80s, I was married to my first wife, Karen, and she's passed away now. But anyway, she was a big Elvis fan, especially for Lisa, but she never met her. But we were at the Graceland Plaza. Across from Graceland, they had an art exhibit, all Elvis art done by fans and so forth. Oh, and there was this one that was great. It had Elvis, Priscilla, and Lisa. And then so Karen just said, "Oh, that's a beautiful one of Lisa and her parents." And right behind me, I noticed Lisa had come right behind us, and she said, "Thank you," and then she smiled at me, and we winked at each other, and she walked away. And it didn't hit Karen until who said that? I said, "It was Lisa." "What do you mean, Lisa?" I said, "She was right behind us.
Oh.
She was there for a long time looking. Why didn't you tell me?" I said, "Well, because you'd probably freak out, But she's right over there,
and she did. Oh, well, I think that you have had. I've loved listening to you. It's just like you're talking about an old friend, and I've got to take a break and then say goodbye. So I am really, really so thankful for you, Don. I love your friendship, and I love all the people that you know and all the stories that you have. So thank you for being on the show, and we'll talk again as soon as some other stuff comes up. I mean, some of the things that we'd love to talk about. That'll be fine. But keep in touch, all right, man? Call me.
Well, and I want to apologize for coughing a couple of times. It's my asthma acting up.
Oh,
other than that, so.
You're so sweet. You got through it. You pushed right through it. I appreciate it. Okay, sweet.
Okay,
thank
great
you.
talking to you, Cindy, as always.
So great talking to you. We've been talking to Don Wilson. He's my Elvis connection. And we are sponsored by the Wootton Financial Group. And I just want to say thank you again and again for them. And we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Every week, people ask the same two questions. Are they ready to retire? Will their savings last for their lifetimes? Hi, this is Chris Wootton with Wootton Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. We help answer these two questions and many more that people have about their uncertain financial future. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know the client and includes a few meetings for the client to kick the tires at no charge. We provide a concise, one-page summary that helps the client get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for them. To learn more about Wootton Financial Group's process in helping their clients to a clearer financial future and to see their contact information, visit Cindy Cochran's show page on irlonestar.com/TCCS. Wootton Financial Group is a proud sponsor of the Cindy Cochran Show. Wootton Financial Group is available by phone at 936-449-5952 or visit them on the web at www.woottonfinancial.com. That's www.woottonfinancial.com.
This program is sponsored by the Wootton Financial Group. It is not the intent of Wootton Financial Group to render or offer personalized investment advice or financial planning advice through this radio program or any related website. Wootton Financial Group's participation in this program is limited to providing general information on financial matters and should not be construed as financial recommendation or investment advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Game Plan Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the state of Texas. Insurance services are offered through Wootton Financial Group, Inc. Game Plan Advisors and Wootton Financial Group, Inc. are affiliated through common ownership, and neither firm is affiliated with The Cindy Cochran Show. No listener should assume that any information presented and or made available on this program serves as the receipt of or a substitute for personalized individual advice from Game Plan Advisors, Wootton Financial Group, or any of their representatives.
And you're back on the Cindy Cochran Show. We had Don Wilson with us all this time. So if you missed it, it's okay, because you just can go back, push on the Cindy Cochran Show on YouTube, and there it will be right there. So anyway, be sure and listen to him again. He has such great stories, and I could listen to him like all day. But Mark Bynum, hello, how are you? That's my cousin. He was listening, and he was like shocked. He did not know that I was going to have someone on like Don Wilson, who knows everybody in Hollywood, and especially Elvis Presley. So, okay, now tomorrow though, drum roll please, Bob Smiley's going to be here, Christian comedian, and he was like my first guest that I had on the show, and he's coming back. I told him I'd bring him a Subway sandwich, and he said, great, and he gave me a list about this long of what he wants to put on the sandwich. I hope he was kidding. You know, he's a comedian, he kids. So, but anyway, he's going to be here. Bob Smiley is going to be here tomorrow, and he has so many fans. And I've got to get this out on my Facebooks to let him know he will be here live with me. And so I just hope I make it on time. And I beat him here. That was my toll. I told him, I said, I hope I get there before you do. And I will see you guys. Let's see. Tomorrow's Thursday, and tomorrow's Wednesday, but then I'll see you Thursday, and it'll be me and Richard. It'll just be me and Richard talking to each other, unless he finds me a really great guest. It'll be just me and Richard exchanging ideas and uplifting this community. Okay, guys, I will see you tomorrow with Bob Smiley's going to be here. All right, bye-bye, and listen, first responders, we love you so much. We love you, and even more, God loves you. And see ya.